Hello and welcome once again to this Red Gamer Tech video. Myself and Marta, as always, I'm here with the latest news from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Hope you're all having a lovely week and gearing up for the weekend. Personally, I'm getting my first tattoo this weekend, so a combination of excited and nervous. I know it'll be fine, but still, probably be pics on the Twitter or Facebook, or both probably. Anyway, with all that said, let's begin with something from EVGA. So, we have a report thanks to the folks over at Tech Power Up, and of course you can find their article linked in the description below this video, who basically said that according to their sources, who are EVGA reps at CES 2020, we will be seeing a new, cheaper RTX 2060 model from these guys. The RTX 2060 KO, which is going to be based on the TU106 silicon. It is going to be allegedly priced about $299 and is going to be released in just a few days on January the 14th. Now, according to what Tech Power Up are saying, this is due to EVGA themselves. This has nothing to do with NVIDIA. EVGA, are simply trying to make a RTX 2060 model all of their own volition. However, I would not be surprised to see other AIBs following suit if they aren't already planning announcements similar to this. Now, will we see a reduction in specs with the reduction in price? We may see fewer CUDA cores, for instance, but that is pure speculation. No information on that one way or the other. We just know that this card does exist, at least according to Tech Power Up sources, and once again you can find their article linked below. Next up is a bit more of a discussion on something that has been said by one of the folks over at Xbox. Now, this is basically around the discussion of specs. Now, obviously, we have been talking a lot about the predicted specs and the known specs of both the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 for quite some time. Unsurprisingly, a lot of people really want to know who's going to be the top dog this gen. Reports are kind of going back and forth between the two companies, and it's looking like, regardless of who ends up being in the lead, the race is definitely on to be the king of this upcoming generation when the consoles release later on this year. But the Xbox Series X hardware director David Prion took to Twitter to basically ask why people are asking for the hardware specs so far ahead of time. Now, that distinction is important because he's not asking why people want to know, but why they want to know now. Because, well, apparently, according to him, he's been getting asked since E3, but I'm getting ahead of myself. What did he actually have to say? Well, he said, quote, "Serious question, not looking for toxicity or box wars. Why do people want to know specs of anything so far in advance? Will it change what you buy since it'll be the same day of launch? To me, it's like movie spoilers. I don't want to know until I buy my movie ticket." Now, the answer to him that someone said, a fellow by the name of Dragoon83, EVGA, I think, is going to be the answer from most average gamers. They want to know the most powerful one or the ones that has most games that they want so they can start saving up. Most people have to put money aside each month to be able to afford these consoles. They're not exactly cheap. Many people can't afford just to cough up on a whim. However, they said, quote, "Well, for me, I'm on a budget, so I have to save months in advance for one machine. I prefer the most powerful one or one with the most exclusives I want. So knowing I advance keeps me focused and motivated." To which David said, quote, "This is very valid and appreciate the solid answer. Makes total sense if one was out and competition had not released yet, but I get pushed since last E3 daily for specs. I don't know why this far out." Now, again, his question is why he's getting asked so far in advance, and apparently someone came up to him at CES and basically called him an arsehole for not wanting to tell him the specs of the machine, which is a little ridiculous. Like, it's not unreasonable to ask the question, but if they say, "Oh no, sorry, I'm not going to tell you," I'd be like, fair enough. What can you tell me about what other thing that, what games are you most excited for, or some other topic of conversation I'd move on to. I won't call someone names. That's like, what grown-ass adult is doing that? But regardless, I do kind of see his point that why do people want to know so far in advance? Like, since E3 last year is a bit like, huh? But I think mostly it's going to be a combination of things, as with anything. Where that involves large groups of people, it's going to be a numerous sort of collection of answers rather than anything solid in one place. I think for a lot of people, a lot of average gamers, it is going to be so they know which one do I want to save up for. People like myself, it's obviously professional curiosity. I'm also a tech nerd, so I want to know what's inside the machine, how is it going to perform, how is the competitor going to perform, what's the predictions on who we're going to see in the lead. But he does raise a valid point, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. I wanted to discuss this topic simply to kind of get some conversation rolling in the comments. Do let me know your thoughts below. Moving on, however, to another Xbox topic with the store itself on the machine. Now, I just want to say, before I even get into the nitty-gritty of what this actually is, that this is a rumour. I cannot stress this hard enough. This is a rumour. And this is thanks to a website by the name of GameExperience.it. As you might guess by the domain there, it is an Italian website. You can find their article linked in the description below. However, according to their report, the Xbox Series X will include a boot mode by the name of Windows Mode, which will apparently let you switch your operating system to Windows 10 and basically let you use your console as a PC and even let you use applications like Steam and the Epic Store. Now, obviously, not all applications are going to be available. I don't think anyone's going to be cracking out an Excel spreadsheet on their Xbox Series X anytime soon, but at least according to this report, it is going to be probably a limited version of Windows 10, most likely for use with PC games on like Origin or Uplay or Steam or Epic or whatever. So the question is, would Microsoft actually do this? To be honest, probably, because, well, they have been really keen on getting people into the Windows ecosystem. You know, they've been doing this cross-play thing for ages now, where if you buy a game, you can play it on PC as well without any extra cost. Even if you have a game on Game Pass on the console, you can then play it on PC on Windows Store as well. So they're really, really keen to have this versatility, universality, and obviously really getting people into that ecosystem. I don't know if they'll go so far as to literally have a Windows mode where you have a Windows 10 sort of style functionality. They might have Steam access on your machine, but not every game that is available on Steam is going to be good for consoles, so maybe it's just going to be a select version of it. I'm not sure about this report. It makes sense in a way, but the more you think about it, the more the sort of libraries you have on Steam, or people have on Steam, sorry, should I say, and the sort of games, not all of them are going to be suitable for console. Anywho, you get my point. I don't know about this. We'll have to see how true this ends up being. I wouldn't be surprised if it has some truth, but I don't know. Could be skeptical on this one. So we're going to move on now to a name that I don't say very often, and that is Alienware. So they had something to show us at CES this year as well. And basically they have something that is still in development, which is currently being called Concept UFO. And as the name very much suggests, it is still a concept product, excuse me. So basically this is a handheld based solution basically inspired by the Nintendo Switch. It is going to be a PC based on Windows 10, so you can play all of your PC games on the go. And it can be docked, where obviously it would gain access to your additional power and become a more of a home theater PC, and the integrated controllers like the Switch can be taken off and used as a single controller. So you can really see the Switch inspiration here. Now, it does use Intel IP GPU at present and has a 8-inch display. We do not know the resolution, and we don't even know the architecture that is actually powering this. Again, this is still at the concept stage, so talking about specs would not really be all that helpful, because they are very much subject to change, as well as that design of the controller. I hope it doesn't stay like that, yikes. But regardless of all that, it is an interesting concept, and I'm not surprised to see people trying this. Obviously, NVIDIA have been trying this a few times with the NVIDIA Shield, which has had varying degrees of success, I guess is the word I would choose to use there. So, obviously, price, performance, etc. is going to be very, very important for this. It's Alienware. It's not going to be cheap, obviously. But we'll have to see if this ends up even being a real thing, because once again, this was sort of concept, but still an interesting one nonetheless. Next up is something that Paul did not discuss from Intel CES event. And this is none other than their the next gen, should I say, of Thunderbolt 4 I/O. So basically, they said that it will be 4 times faster than the speed of a USB 3, but unfortunately, their announcement was a little light on the technical details. However, it is going to be backwards compatible with Thunderbolt 3, and unsurprisingly, is going to be making use of the USB-C connector. However, Intel did issue a statement to Tom's Hardware, and you can find their article linked in the description below this video. Quote, Thunderbolt 4 continues Intel leadership in providing exceptional performance, ease of use, and quality for USB-C connector-based products. It standardizes PC platform requirements and adds the latest Thunderbolt innovations. Thunderbolt 4 is based on open standards and is backwards compatible with Thunderbolt 3. We'll have more details to share about Thunderbolt 4 at a later date. Oh, and one last thing they did actually share is that we will see integration with this on their 10nm Plus Tiger Lake processors. So the real question is going to be, how will this differentiate itself from Thunderbolt 3? How much of an improvement are we actually going to see? If you read Tom's Hardware's article, and it definitely is worth a read, and once again link below, they pretty much speculate that this is most likely a rebranding of Thunderbolt 3, and having looked into what Intel showed at CES and doing a bit more research elsewhere, I kind of have to agree with their assessment, but of course that is based on what we know presently. Intel will be showing more soon, but it does look likely that's where we're going, but they may indeed surprise us. However, that is me done for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. As always, your support really is appreciated. I do mean that every time I say it, so thank you for watching, and do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because that also helps out a great deal. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.